everyone, and welcome to Film Geek Time Machine. I'm your host, Austin Kennedy. Here's Tim.
I'm Tim.
Tim Kaiser.
Explain this podcast to me.
The podcast. Oh, well, this is a podcast where I have a time machine. And what does a Film Geek do with the time machine? Well, we go back in time, picking a random date, and we pick the times of all the movies that we want to see, and we see a bunch of movies, and sometimes we have seen them before, sometimes we haven't.
First time I've heard.
Yeah.
Never heard of this podcast, but here I am.
Yay! So, yes, this is our 10th episode already. So
I know. Wait, what do you mean ours? Have I been here before?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I've got such old man amnesia.
The random date we picked this time was October 8th, 1953. This is one of the oldest ones. We did 39 already, but it's 53.
We haven't done no 40s.
No 40s.
So next season, 3 40s at least. Okay?
Yeah. Well,
I want to see movies that came out in the middle of World War II.
Yeah.
And then we'll be in empty theaters or theaters only filled with wives. Okay?
Or kids.
Kids and wives.
Yeah.
All the men are off getting killed by Nazis.
So, and then what we do is there's a site called newspapers.com, and we go to it and we look at the actual newspaper from that day that'll show all the times, all the movies that we're playing. So right now I'll present to everyone what our choices were and what we didn't pick before I tell you what we picked. So
one of them is something that you are really mad that we didn't pick.
Yeah, one of them is, yeah. So I'm looking, so there's a couple of Tony Curtis and the All-American. Don't know that movie. I know Tony Curtis, obviously.
Yeah, it's got the biggest ad in this picture.
It's because it started today.
But we watched a different Tony Curtis movie. So.
That's right. There's The Moon is Blue, From Here to Eternity, which
that's another big one.
Oh yeah. What else do we got? The Last Posse, China Venture, Laurence Olivier in The Beggar's Opera.
I don't know what that even says.
That was The Last Posse.
The Last Posse. Oh,
yep.
I wonder if that's a Western.
Yeah, I wonder. Stalag
40% of all movies
Stalag 17, which is a fantastic World War II Billy Wilder. We've both seen it.
I've seen it like 3 times.
I would have been happy to go see it, but we
I
opt
could have
for other movies.
Not seen it and still talked about it because I've seen it so many times.
Right.
I would have watched it because
King Solomon's Mines, Snows of Kilimanjaro. The Mr. Scoutmaster is all over the place.
It is. There's so many.
I don't ever heard of it.
It's brand new, and it stars Clifton Webb, who I have heard of.
Yeah, and then there's a bunch of
a bunch of kids, which makes sense. He's a Scoutmaster.
Cartoon pictures of kids. And then what I didn't notice on the other page, because we just looked at one of the pages, the other page was a premiere of The Robe. When we were picking
that night,
when we were picking movies. I didn't see this. If I did, I would have picked this.
This is the first fucking widescreen movie.
It was the first CinemaScope.
Film historian you are.
Yeah. Well, no, I knew it was, but I didn't know it was.
You didn't know the actual super release, Midwestern release date. Like you should. At all times.
And this was before the regular engagement. So we didn't see The Robe, so I've never seen The Robe. But then again, we just did a Jesus movie last week.
Yes.
So.
This would have added to a total of 5.5 hours of Jesus if we mixed them together.
We picked 7 movies. Last movie was a double feature. So there was actually one drive-in, Mr. Scoutmaster, and just one movie. That was it.
That is weird.
Yeah.
It started at October. It would have started at like 8:30.
Right.
So it wouldn't even been that late.
Or actually probably earlier than that, probably at dusk.
I guess I don't know when daylight savings shit happened and all that stuff. I don't know.
Well, it could have been different back then. I don't know. But then, so the movies we picked are, the first one is Little Boy Lost with Bing Crosby. Both of us never heard of it. Starts today.
Never heard of it.
Yeah.
It has a second biggest ad on this picture.
It does.
Third biggest if you count The Robe as an entire fucking page. That you were stupid and didn't look at.
Yeah, I know. So Little Boy Lost, and that was at 11:45 at the Century. Then Francis Covers the Big Town, which is a Francis the Talking Mule movie, the 4th in a series of 7.
Yes.
I've never seen, neither of us have seen one.
Here's the thing. I guarantee when I was a kid, I saw something.
Yeah.
But I had no recollection.
Yeah, I've never seen any of these, so I was excited to check that out. That was 1:30 at the park. Martin and Lewis, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis in The Caddy at the Uptown.
I know I'd seen at least one Martin and Lewis film, but I don't know which one it was.
Right.
And I don't think it was this one because I had no recollection of anything while watching it.
Then at the Heights Theater, which is actually still around in Minneapolis, still up here, is Vice Squad with Edward G. Robinson, film noir. Then we go to the Rialto to see Gentlemen Prefer Blondes at 7 o'clock. And then finally at 9 o'clock at the Lake Theater, we're seeing a double feature of Houdini with Tony Curtis playing Harry Houdini. And then with a B-movie Western as the double bill, The Silver Whip. which I've never heard of before. It had has a
Never heard of.
young Robert Wagner in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, I was curious to see these movies. I think it'll be fun. Oh, and just to go back, we looked at some of the music back then. What I found was a song by the Ames Brothers called "You You You," which
We just listened to it.
it's a nice song.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's a song. I'm like,
This
sure.
is before the rock and roll. Like 2 years later, that's when like Bill Haley and Rock Around the
Yes.
Clock came out. So this is still a lot of Percy Faith and Perry Como and Tony Bennett style.
This here
stuff.
says it's a 1962 oldies, so it must be a
reissue because this is a radio hit of the 50s
Yeah.
too. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to our first movie.
Okay.
So Little Boy Lost with Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby is mostly known for musicals and singing, though he does sing 3 songs in this. I hesitate to call it a full.
It's not a musical. They said, here's what happened in this movie. They wrote a movie,
Yeah.
right? They said, who are we going to cast in it? They cast Bing. They said, add songs. Okay?
Yeah. They do.
It's not a musical. He literally just sings at 3 random parts.
Right. Well, it kind of fits a little bit. It's not. I don't think it's completely out
He
of it.
sings to the little boy Lost at one point.
Yeah. So yeah, Bing Crosby plays a war veteran who lost his wife during the war.
Yes.
Yes.
She was, as far as I could tell, fully tortured and murdered by Nazis.
Yeah.
And I'm like, holy shit, they went dark as shit.
Yeah,
this
well, they
movie.
met in Paris when he was over there doing he was doing radio correspondence, to do the news on the radios and stuff like that. And then she was like a singer, and that would do performances and stuff.
This is the first of every one of these movies where some guy gets the hots for somebody, creeps out on her for a while, she falls in love, they get married. The other one, so she doesn't die in the other ones.
Right, but she dies in this. Well, finds out. So they did have a kid, and he's trying to find out where the kid is. So he's going back after the war, trying to find over in France where his kid is. So he goes to this orphanage and to find, and the nun's like, well, I don't know which one it is, but here's this kid. See if you know anything about him.
I got the impression she had a reason to believe that this was the highest likelihood.
Yeah. I don't know what the rules and regulations are about that kind of thing, but she's just like,
here,
why don't you go take him out in Paris for a while?
France, rules and regulations were words they had never heard of.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, anyway, so he hangs out with this little boy, having a little bond with him, and it may or may not be his son. And if it ends up not being his son, does he still want to adopt him because he's performing, or he's forming this bond with him? And that's pretty much the movie. For me, the movie's middle of the road. Voiceover, yeah.
There's a ton. Actually, it's like the first 60% is half of it is voiceover by Bing, and then the voiceover just stops. There's not even like an epilogue voiceover, which I'm like, why is that not happening?
Well, so I'm wondering if the voiceover was a part of the original idea, or if after they shot the movie, like, oh, let's put some voiceover in it so people know what's going on.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Although there's a couple of times in the voiceover, they're literally telling you what you can actively see in the screen, and I'm like, I know that. It's right there.
Right. I think Bing Crosby's actually pretty good in a dramatic role.
He's okay. He's actually not bad. I do believe they wanted a different, more...
Yeah.
This is actually a pretty real movie.
Yeah.
Because the story of it, with the kid...
It's based off a novel, looks like it.
The kid, it kind of hit me.
Yeah.
The kid is fucking phenomenal.
He's really good.
The kid is amazing.
Yep, and
he makes Bing look like a fucking dullard. Okay?
I thought Bing was fine. Christian Forcade is the name of the boy.
Yeah,
John.
There's no Wikipedia page, so he's gone. Although I could have swore I'd seen him somewhere.
Yeah, no, he was good. And then his friend, played by Claude Dauphin, he's kind of a thankless role in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, his friend. There's 3 really well acted roles.
I actually thought the girl was good. Who plays Lisa. Nicole Murray, I thought.
The wife.
The wife,
dead wife. Yeah, she was okay. There's 2 other women that are great.
Mother Superior.
Yeah. Fucking
Gabriel Dorzia
is serious. Mm-hmm. And she gives him a lecturing when he basically returns the kid, when he figures out the kid isn't his.
Yeah.
She gives him a real lecturing about this.
Yeah.
But there's the other kid, the other woman, who tries to trick him into thinking this is his kid.
Oh, yeah.
But she also gives him a tongue lashing.
Yeah.
Because he's mad at her because of this thing she did. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry about this thing where I'm trying to find a boy a family. You fucking idiot. Okay?
Well, it was really interesting. So
your kid's dead, you moron.
I do like Bing in the movie because he's likable. He has this kind of likable personality. And his singing, his songs are good.
He sings 3 songs.
You know what's interesting about this, and I don't know if you knew this, but I read this online, was they had to break in the middle of the movie because in real life, Bing Crosby's wife passed away.
Oh, Jesus, really?
And then he came back and had to do one of the scenes where when he hears about how she passed away.
Oh, God.
And that's when they shot it.
I should rewatch that to see how good he is in it, because
I think he's pretty good.
Okay.
Now that you know that, like,
yeah, holy shit.
Well, he definitely has a melancholy to the movie, but yeah, it's pretty interesting when I was reading about it. Yeah. So his wife died on November 1st, and they were filming it from September to December.
Oh,
and they had to break in November.
Literally in the fucking middle of it.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right in the middle of the movie, they had to stop.
Brutalness.
And the movie's kind of I wouldn't call it a downer, but it's a melancholy film.
That was one of the weird things. He does find out that his wife is murdered and stuff.
Yeah.
And for some reason, at that point, because I didn't know about the actual history of at the point, I felt like it doesn't seem to be as torn up by it as he should be. But now I'm like, oh, he was 100 times more torn up than he should have been, because that guy literally told him his real life wife was dead.
Yeah. But it's crazy. So the filmmaking by George Seaton it's fine, it's serviceable,
it's fine.
And that's kind of how I felt about the whole movie, that it was just fine. It's a 2.5 out of 4 for me.
Okay.
I don't have a whole lot to say about it, because it was just kind of there. It's absolutely watchable, I think.
Here's what I
have
to say about
it. Oh yeah.
Here's what I have to say about it. The kid is amazing.
Yeah.
There's some really good performances.
Yeah.
The whole storyline of whether or not this is his son or not.
Yeah.
He finds out it isn't the son. The nun gives him the lecturing, and so he has to think about this thing.
Yeah.
Should I just adopt the kid? Because he actively loves the kid.
Yeah, he does.
The kid is awesome.
Yeah.
And then they throw it all fucking away in the last scene, and it fucking enraged me.
Oh.
He goes back, and he finds out, even though everything in this movie says it isn't his kid.
And then ends up being
his fucking kid. Even though the kid had no recollection of his fucking wife, or had any recollection of anything.
But it was seeing the stuffed animal.
It's Binky, blah, blah, blah.
And that's how I knew it was him.
Fuck you, movie. You threw the entire...
I didn't mind that. I actually like that. No.
The entire premise of your movie, where this guy has to actively find love in any other way.
Yeah.
And then he's like, nope, it's his kid. It's a
very Hollywood.
Who's learning English through American folk songs, which was kind of weird. Okay? There's we teach them American folk songs so they learn English. And I'm like, what? Okay, sure. Well, it was they're riding around the mountain or whatever it was. I was like, whatever. The first half with all the voiceover stuff, before they even really start the story line with the kid. Because there's a full half hour where he's married, and then he goes away because he gets pulled away.
Yeah.
He can't go back to France because suddenly there's a world war there now. You're fucking screwed.
Yeah,
okay?
And so he can't see his wife. And then it was maybe his wife's involved with resistance. Yeah, kind of wasn't confirmed.
Yeah,
but
he actively says there's no way she'd be involved in resistance. And I'm like, because your wife is shitty? I don't understand. Why would she not be involved in resistance? Because my wife was pro-Nazi.
Right.
I'm like, what are you talking about?
Maybe to protect the kid.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
He was like, no, she would never do that. And whatever you do, if you find my kid, don't murder him as punishment. I understand. But I really hated that last thing. So I'm going to give it 2 stars.
Okay.
Because I actively was going to give this 3. Because even though it was kind of blah, 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 the stuff with the kid,
I thought was really good. Yeah,
it actually gave me. I got some chills. And I was tearing up a little bit.
I could see at the time.
God, that fucking ending pissed me off.
I actually kind of liked the ending. So.
I hated the.
It was totally Hollywood ending, but
that's what pissed me off. I'm like, no, that's not how this movie should end. He adopts the kid because he fell in love with a kid,
and I think he was going to.
Yes. Oh, he went. He actively seemed to have gone back. Even though he also mailed the thing back to make it look like he wasn't coming back. I don't know if he was trying to fake out the nun. I don't know.
But anyways, so that's Little Boy Lost.
Yep, Little Boy Lost.
Probably will never watch it again.
It's on YouTube if you want to watch the middle part. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can definitely watch a lot worse films. Yeah. So no, it was a fine way to start the day. So the next one is Francis Covers the Big Town, which is the 4th in the series of Francis the Talking Mule series. So let's go take a look at the Francis the Talking Mule. The movies are Francis in 1950. Francis goes to the races in 51.
This is a yearly thing. Holy shit.
Francis goes to West Point in 52, and then we watched Francis Covers the Big Town, and then there's Francis Joins, what is it, the Wax?
That's a military
term, right?
Thing, and then Navy. So actually,
Francis in the Navy, and then Francis in the Haunted House was the
Races, Big Town, and Haunted House are the only ones that aren't military. Because of France, in the first one, Francis literally saves him on the field of war or something like that.
I was excited to watch these because I really like Donald O'Connor.
I love
Singing in the Rain is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Donald O'Connor is amazing.
And Donald O'Connor is and I haven't seen him in a terrible amount of films. So seeing him in this, I actually really liked him in this movie.
It's weird because this is the second movie we watched for this podcast that has had him in it.
Oh, Toys. He was in Toys. That's right. Yeah. Toys. Well, he was hardly in that movie.
But it counts. Fuck you.
It does. No, it counts. It counts. It counts. No, Francis Covers the Big Town. What? Also, before we jump into this, what I didn't realize was the director, Arthur Lubin, who created the series, he was trying to get a TV series on this. And that's how Mr. Ed. So Mr. Ed is actually from the because of Francis. They couldn't get the rights to call it Francis, so they just called it Mr. Ed. So
it makes sense, although the literal storylines of Mr. Ed is a very different thing.
Yeah,
there's no war involved.
No, but he wanted to make a talking mule movie for the television. So I actually didn't know that. I just thought it was a coincidence. But that's actually
I kind of assumed.
It was actually because of these movies. So if there would be no Mr. Ed without the Francis the Talking Mule.
Spoiler alert: this movie's better than any Mr. Ed anything.
You know what?
I used to watch the Mr. Ed. I did, and it is.
I don't know if the
same show ever.
It is. I don't know if I've ever sat down and actively paid attention and watched an entire episode. When I was a kid, it was always on in the background or something. I was playing with my cars or something.
I'm probably about the same. I don't know if I ever actually said, I'm going to watch Mr. Ed.
I kind of want to watch a
But I know Mr. Ed.
Now.
You know all the Mr. Ed memes.
And the song of famous Mr. Ed. Wilbur, come in the room. Yeah.
Wilbur. The fact that the guy who played Wilbur was Scrooge McDuck.
Well, Chills Willis does the voice here, and I love his voice. He's got a really low...
that's Francis's voice.
Yeah.
No, the guy who played Wilbur, Alan, what's his face?
Yeah, it was Scrooge McDuck.
Scrooge McDuck in the DuckTales show.
So this one, I guess you're supposed to already know that Donald O'Connor has his pet mule Francis, so it's already established.
There's been one.
It's the fourth one.
This is TV shows before TV shows were big enough.
Right.
If you didn't have a TV and wanted to watch a TV show, go see this year's episode of Francis.
Right, exactly. And so what this was Donald O'Connor, his name's Peter, and Peter and Francis go to the town. They don't really say the town. It's probably New York.
They say New York. They say New York a few times.
So they go to New York, and he's like, wow, look at the town. I'm going to be a newspaper man. So he decides he's going to be a reporter. He wants to be a crack investigative reporter. He reads a lot of other reporters and is influenced by them.
Apparently, in 1953, it was really easy to just go and say, give me a job. And they said, okay, here's a job.
Well, he started off as collecting garbage.
Yes, for one literal 4-second scene. It's like he's collecting garbage. Next scene, nope. I'm a copy boy.
Yeah.
I mean, okay.
He's janitor, copy boy. So he works his way up. So he wants to be a reporter. Well, the thing is, he starts getting scoops of these heists and crimes.
You don't exactly know how, but obviously it has something to do with Francis, but you don't know how Francis knows.
At first, but then, Francis
was like, is Francis literally God? Is Francis just the voice of God?
So his mule, Francis the mule, is actually talking or telling him these tips because he goes around and talks to all the other horses. Because back in the 50s, there were still police horses.
I think there still are in Central Park.
Right. Yeah. But it was a lot more common.
Oh yeah, they were all over.
They're all over the place. So he goes around and talks.
The horses somehow know more about crime than any cop does.
Right. So he's getting the scoops from all these people, and eventually they're like, "How do you get your scoop?" And it's like, it's my talking mule, Francis.
Yeah. And okay. Biggest difference between this and Mr. Ed.
Yeah.
Mr. Ed never talks to anybody.
Except for,
no matter how much Wilbur begs him, he won't do it. In this, Francis looks like he's not going to talk.
That's what I thought.
Then he will eventually still talk. He tries to just wait for the most comedic time to start talking.
Yeah.
That's all Francis wants to do.
But the first time he gets, he's trying to get him to talk, he doesn't. I'm like, it's going to be one of these things.
It's going to be those.
But it's not. Eventually, he talks through the whole courtroom.
Eventually the entire world, as far as I know. I'm pretty sure they ignore that for future movies. Okay?
Because I'm sure that's the joke.
He literally was in court. Okay, there's a stenographer there writing down shit that a mule said.
So, anyways, he's finding out about the stuff, and there's a subplot of a double kind of a romance where he likes one of the reporters who's kind of a jerk. She's a jerk.
Yeah.
She's not cool.
She's terrible.
And then
she tries to use him when she finds out she has a talking mule. She doesn't know what talking mule. She knows he gets scooped.
Yeah.
And then also has a talking mule.
And then there's a girl who's daughter of the grocer or whatever,
Yeah.
and then she has
Who turns 18 during the movie.
Yeah.
Although she looks like she's 27.
She was 25, I think, when they filmed it,
Yeah,
obviously. But yeah.
But she's like, I turn 18 tomorrow. And I'm like, and the look on his face, and I'm like, dude, wrong look on your face.
You know,
okay?
and it's...
Well, although I looked up his age, he was only like 24.
He was like 27, 28, I think,
was
at
he?
this point.
I thought he was born
25.
Yeah, he turned 28 or something. In 53, he turned 28. But in reality, she was like 22. So,
right.
So I'm like, oh, whatever.
And you know, and also, I'm not saying it's right, but back in the 50s, it was probably common to date 17 and 16-year-olds, like, at that point. And it was just, you know.
There's other movies in that do stuff in the 50s that I'm going to talk about later.
So, and then there's a little, the plot with, he is kind of covering like a big sting of like, there's a guy that's kind of operating all these crimes, and he finds out from Francis who it is. He has kind of a pull with like a newspaper, and he's trying to like this main bad guy is trying to like stop it from happening. So they kind of sends people out after them to find out who this Francis guy is and whatever. And this movie is featherweight light. I mean, it's a super light, and I enjoyed myself. I was smiling through the whole movie
a lot more than I thought it was.
Me too.
There are legitimately
actually
funny ass gags in this, and I'm like,
absolutely,
shit, that was funny.
And you know what? This makes me want to watch the other ones. I want to watch the other.
I don't know if I want to watch the other ones.
Oh no, I want to watch the other.
You're going to watch the last one that stars Mickey Rooney instead?
No, not my will. But so I will say that
you're a movie psycho.
I really like Donald O'Connor. Like, his timing is so funny. Like, even when he's not with Francis, like, just his double talking and how fast he talks. He's like, oh, let me get this for you.
He's funny. Well, as he repeatedly is telling some people about the mule.
Yeah.
Because he just kind of has to at some point.
Yeah.
They have put him in an insane asylum. But they happen
that's right.
It happens like 5 times.
Yeah.
Every time he's in there,
they have these blocks.
He has one of those blocks with the square pegs, round holes.
And there was a small one.
It's a small one. Next time, a little bit bigger.
Next time it was huge.
But by the last time, this thing has like 80 holes in it. And actually, but he's done them all. And they're like, "Oh, you did that faster than anybody else."
Yeah.
When they turn his head, he finds another peg, but all the holes are full, so he just throws it out the window. I'm like, God, this is some funny shit.
It is, yeah. And like when they first were looking at the town, you see the skyline of the town, and you're like, okay. And then just him talking to Francis, like, well, blah blah blah, and I'm like, I started smiling, like, this is stupid. I'm in.
But I mean, it was a Francis movie. I'm not going to watch going to a Francis movie.
But right away,
I refuse to enjoy talking mules.
But right away, it was just like, okay, this is pretty fun and enjoyable, and I like the kind of love triangle or whatever, and that was fine, and yeah, it's like I don't really have too many complaints about it. This movie is exactly what it was supposed to be. It's supposed to be this entertaining, silly movie about a talking mule, but with a likable lead by Donald O'Connor. I think he's terrific in it.
And the guy who's so doing the voice of Francis is as good or better than the Mr. Ed voice, which I think they're similar. They're very deep voices.
There are very deep voices, yes. I was surprised that it gets kind of violent too, like people dying and getting shot in this movie
Francis
too.
Actively threatens to kick some guy.
Yeah, to get information from him.
And then he starts kicking his leg, and he's like, "I'm lining it up now," and I'm like, Francis is gonna kill you.
That was great. I thought that was I actually like that scene. No, I thought that was a lot of fun. No, I actually really enjoyed it quite a bit. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 4. So
I'm like, do I want to give a Francis fucking mule movie a 3? But I'm gonna legitimately say I enjoyed this a pretty good amount.
Like what else?
I think 3's
Why wouldn't you get what's wrong with it?
I honestly don't think there's any way you make this movie higher than a 3.
No.
But this is the absolute best version of a Francis movie that I could imagine.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
Because I enjoyed it.
I did too. No, yeah, I'm in on Francis. There's I saw a 7-disc Blu-ray collection. I'm like, I'm probably gonna pick it up.
Jesus, you're a sick human being. Okay,
you liked it.
Yes, correct. And I'll just watch it on YouTube. Okay? They're like all on YouTube. Okay.
Or we can just go back in time and go see them in the theater.
That costs like plutonium. Okay, so that's more money.
You're gonna waste our plutonium and all the friends of the time.
Yes, correct.
No, it's a fun movie. So
now it's canon that it uses plutonium.
All right, next movie is the CADDY.
The CADDY.
Yeah. So I have seen this before, and
okay.
I had a different reaction to this one than I did the first time. So
Well, what was your reaction the first time?
I didn't like it.
And now so apparently you liked it this time.
Yeah. So Martin and Lewis, so I actually have really liked a lot of Jerry Lewis' solo stuff. I am actually
We haven't seen a Jerry Lewis solo movie
No.
yet. Although this is the 4th Dean Martin movie we watched.
It totally is. Have you seen any of his solo stuff? Jerry Lewis's solo stuff?
When I was younger. Sure.
So I actually really like his stuff, like particularly the movies that he directs. When he became a director, his style is a lot different than if you watch like The Disorderly Orderly, which he didn't direct, but he starred in, and then watch like The Nutty Professor, the tones are very different.
Okay.
Because the other ones are more like live action cartoons where it's just loud and slapsticky.
I know
the other ones have a more of an artistic feel to them. I know I've seen
the original Nutty Professor.
Yeah, it's so good. The Family Jewels is a great one. The Bellboy. The Ladies' Man, I think, is his funniest movie.
I assume if I saw those again now,
Yeah.
I would enjoy them.
Yeah.
Because in this, the times when Martin was Martin and Lewis were together, and Lewis's entire shtick was being annoying to Dean, just fucking bothered me.
Yeah.
But when Jerry was by himself and doing Jerry Lewis funny shit, I'm like, Jerry Lewis is good. Just fucking, how about this? How about you guys split up for 50 years? And then for that period of time, you'll both be 100 times better.
So this is only the 3rd Martin and Lewis movie I've seen. They've made like a dozen films.
So, you haven't done the synopsis for there. Here's the synopsis.
I will in a second.
Jerry Lewis is Dean Martin's caddy. There you go.
There's a little more to it. Yeah, no,
it's mostly that.
No, I saw Scared Stiff, and it was okay. I saw 3 Ring Circus with them. I didn't like it.
Okay.
And then I didn't like this when it came out because when I saw this, I was like in my early 20s, and I was already a Jerry Lewis solo fan. And then when I saw this, I was just, it's a different Jerry Lewis than his solo stuff. Because Jerry Lewis does a lot of kind of like what Eddie Murphy ended up doing in his Nutty Professor is he does a lot of like, in his movies, he'll be like 5 different characters. He's a master of disguise. And in here, he's just going, "Hey, lady!" He's doing his...
When it's him and Dean together, he's basically just annoying, which they think is funny.
Right.
But there's a great... Jerry sings a song in this.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like back and forth, where he's trying to act like debonair, but he sometimes breaks character to go back to Jerry Lewis. And I'm like, it's really fucking funny and good.
Well, it's weird.
That song is really
the movie
good.
has some meta stuff going on here, too. The caddy, the premise is, what are their characters' names? Joe Anthony and Harvey Miller. They are pretty much themselves. They're Martin and Lewis.
They're Martin and Lewis,
it starts off as them as they're big, like, show comedians. They go on the road. People love them. They sell out stuff. Like, in the beginning of the movie, there's literally people outside of their hotel, like, wanting their picture and autographs and stuff like that.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. They threw, like, money out the window.
So, so it starts off with them doing, like, their shtick, their show. Like, and I wonder how close it is to their actual nightclub
Here's
show.
the thing. I think it was almost exactly like what their nightclub thing was.
I would imagine.
Very much Dean was trying to sing and Jerry was being an annoying dickhead.
I bet you that's what it was like.
Oh my God, this would kill me to watch live.
Yeah, okay? I bet you that's what it was like. But then there's like, like some guys like, well, how did they get started? And then there's like most of the film is a flashback of how they got started. It's kind of funny like how they got into show business because it's just like so random.
I think it was surprisingly not. Well, they didn't know each other before they met for show business. They basically just met one day and said, "Let's be partners." In reality, that's what happened.
Right. Well,
and Jerry, then exactly 10 years later, they broke up.
Yeah,
to the day.
Jerry Lewis, he's dating this girl, named Lisa, played by Barbara Bates, who actually I like quite a bit in the movie.
Yeah. She's not in it a ton, but
no. But so they're together and they work like at a department store or whatever. He wants to, they're engaged, they're gonna get married. Then Dean Martin comes home from wherever he was at, and he is Lisa's brother. He comes in and he's like, "Who's this guy, Jerry Lewis?" And then
Jerry Lewis is sleeping in Dean's bed because there's it's a pretty funny gag.
Yeah,
they are basically on a date after work.
Yep.
He drops her off at home. They kiss,
and he follows her in.
He goes in. They keep talking. They kiss again and they say goodnight. And then he keeps following her. I'm like, is he a creepy stalker? What the fuck's happening?
Nope, he's just going to...
I just live here. I live here. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
And I'm like, in 53?
I thought that was pretty funny.
People didn't burn the fucking theater down for those people living in sin? They didn't sleep in the same bed.
No, they did not.
They basically just were roommates.
No, it was kind of cool. You find out that Jerry Lewis is actually a pretty dang good golfer, but he can't golf in front of people. He
freezes up
crowds. But his knowledge is he's very knowledgeable.
His dad was like a pro.
Yep. So he finds out that Dean Martin like is just putting one day. He's like, "Wow, you're really good. We could make a lot of money if we go to these things, and then we could pay for your family's restaurant and whatever." And so that's kind of the shtick of the movie, and pretty much it goes all the way to like this big event where they're gonna win like what $10,000 or something.
Yeah,
like that.
They win $500, and then they kind of make him give it back
to charity.
Which was actually pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay? What's a tradition, I guess, that you have to donate it.
Just like all the previous years. They give the $500 back to charity.
He's like,
he goes, all right.
He really didn't want to. And then how the movie ends though is kind of funny. They don't win the tournament at all. Like it doesn't
matter.
No, but
that's because they literally get kicked out of the tournament because Jerry Lewis is a fucking idiot.
Right. But some guy who throughout the movie is laughing at their antics.
Oh, I hated that guy.
Oh, the guy that was laughing.
Because the only time he ever laughs at Jerry is the time when I found him the least funny. And I'm like, just fucking wait till Jerry is not around Dean. And then he's actually funny.
So after he's like, you know what? I know a guy and we can get you in showbiz. And literally, that's how they get in the showbiz.
He's been watching the whole movie and he doesn't give him a job until the end.
I get what you're saying. He didn't bother me as much as it did when I first saw it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he is like full on like, hey, you know, like super loud. But yeah,
he's literally just annoying is all he is, and people are supposed to find that funny. He's annoying. Shut up.
I do like their play together. I do like I do like how they interact with each other, and I think Dean.
I actually like it. There are the scenes. Here's the stuff. There's the shtick scenes. Where Jerry's annoying the Dean, and I can tell this is just a nightclub act. And then there's other times where Dean legitimately is mad at the Jerry's character, and I'm like, these are better because I understand. He's annoyed by him. That guy's fucking annoying.
So the scene without Dean Martin in the beginning of the movie, when he's at the department store and then he's screwing everything up and running into stuff, and
I was like, "This
is really good." Like, and that was kind of like what was to come for solo movies because that's what solo movies are like. And I thought there's some great comic timing in there, and the song that Jerry Lewis sings by himself is so funny and it's so good.
Here's the thing. This is the movie where That's Amore comes from.
But Dean Martin,
and Dean sings it. And I'm like, and it starts happening, and I'm like, is this where this fucking song came from?
It is.
And I looked it up later, and I'm like,
it was nominated for Best Original Song in the Academy Awards.
It's a great song. And then Jerry sings his own song later. I'm like, well, fuck That's Amore. That song's garbage compared to this awesome song Jerry's singing. Okay? Jerry's just better at it. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, they break up in 58. They become astronomically better after they break up.
I think so. Yeah.
Because Dean, as we saw other movies with Dean, Dean's actually turns into a pretty fucking solid little actor.
He's a pretty good actor.
And he also happens to be able to sing fucking phenomenally. Okay?
So I want to the other two Dean Martin and Lewis movies that I've seen more recently, and I just really didn't like them.
Okay.
But this one, and there's moments that are good. But it's just they're not solid as a film. I think this film is actually pretty good all the way through.
I think I remember when I said we should watch The Caddy. I remember you kind of like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, because I didn't like it, but I'm like, but it was like almost 30 years ago. So I'm like, I'll rewatch it. Let me look at my notes that I can't read.
You freaking goofus.
I wrote 4 really loud because I thought maybe that was funny.
I'm assuming you got yelled numerous times as jokes.
I have car honk. Maybe that was funny.
Notes. I'm going to read
Sounds
my notes.
like she has a cold.
Although they're probably misspelled because I'm bad at that.
Oh, yeah. He knows hitting.
Most of my stuff on here is about the robe, strangely. Okay?
What? The robe?
I used my magic time travel phone to see into the future of the internet while watching some of this movie. And said, when did widescreen start? Oh, the robe. The robe was in theaters. Why weren't we watching that?
Oh, that was Donna Reed as the love interest.
Donna Reed shows up. I've had a crush on Donna Reed my entire life. She's freaking
one thing that I will say about the movie that I actually really found kind of neat was usually in these type of movies when you have a loudmouth comic relief guy, he doesn't get a girl. In the movie, established right away that they have a pretty nice relationship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't ever believe that they're going to break up.
And she accepts how goofy he is.
Oh, yeah. She legit loves him.
You know what I mean? But I think that's really encouraging for people that aren't like the standard typical guy, and I thought that was really neat.
There's a weird thing that happens late, though, and I was confused. Donna Reed hears something about them being future brother-in-laws.
Oh,
and
right.
I did not have any idea why she got mad. And then I found out later.
I know why.
She thought, I figured it out.
Yeah.
She thought Dean was marrying Jerry's sister.
Because she would probably be like, no one would marry Jerry Lewis. So I kind of found her
that
being
what it was?
That's what I think.
But they literally said it, that he was marrying Dean's sister.
Well,
I literally
he
heard
said
it.
all they said.
And I'm like,
that's
what he said, though.
Yeah,
why were you misunderstanding? Those are the words he said. Now, granted, you may have blocked him out because Jerry is fucking annoying. Okay? I didn't hear what that guy said. I fucking hate him.
And then the ending is kind of funny because then the real Martin Lewis show up and there's like a double screen where they're talking to each other and they're like, who are you guys? And
this movie also has the real Ben Hogan and the real Sam Snead.
Yeah.
As actual golfing in this tournament.
Yeah.
And a couple of times, Jerry, while they're getting ready to swing, goes up there and starts digging, and I'm like, no, you've just been tackled, Jerry Lewis. You're in a fucking golf tournament. Shut the fuck up, you moron. But here, I'm sitting here screaming. I actually enjoyed most of this movie.
No, I like it quite a bit, actually. It's a high 3 for me. I actually really liked it. I would gladly watch it again. Especially to watch Jerry Lewis. And I agree with you. I liked him better when he was doing his own stuff.
Yeah.
Like that stuff was really inspired.
That song he sings literally said, oh, I have to give this a very positive review now, because that whole thing, it lasted like 5 minutes, and I'm like,
yeah, it was really good.
I was entertained as all get out during that entire thing.
Yeah, no, it's a fun movie. It was like Happy Gilmore for Happy Gilmore, and we got
kinda
a little bit, but no, I liked it. So another
3 stars for me too.
Movie. Yay!
Back-to-back 3-star movies.
Vice Squad.
Not going to get 3 stars.
American film noir crime, directed by Arnold Lavin and starring Edward G. Robinson and Paulette Goddard. Arnold Lavin, he directed another movie we already watched.
Oh, what's that?
It's a better movie. Rough Night in Jericho.
Holy shit, really?
Yeah. I can kind of tell during the action scenes.
Well, I'm glad I didn't actually travel. While I was traveling time, I didn't find him and kill him like I was planning on, because I really
didn't like this.
Really fucking hate this movie!
Oh, no.
Movie's fucking garbage!
Really?
The cops in this movie are literally worse than the fucking criminals.
They are pretty bad.
The shit they do in this movie is so fucking egregious that I was sitting there just stewing like they literally kidnap the cops. 2 different fucking people. They kidnapped that witness on numerous occasions.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
There's only one hero in this movie, and it's that fucking witness's lawyer. So give your synopsis, okay? Fuck this fucking piece of shit. 0 is the fucking stars this is getting right now. I knew the moment I fucking walked out of that theater, I'm like, that's a 0-star fucking movie.
No. So I didn't like it either, but I didn't hate it like you did. So.
Nobody hates things as much as I do, Austin Kennedy.
Sorry, I'm reeling from your reaction.
Give your fucking synopsis.
So, Edward G. Robinson plays a detective in the film.
He's the chief of police. You stupid motherfucker.
And there's a murder that happens.
It says captain right there. Whatever.
So there's a murder that happens, and there's an eyewitness that sees this murder happen, and he doesn't want to be the witness because he was having an affair with.
Also, he didn't see very much. It was the fucking middle of the night. He literally cannot fucking identify anybody.
Right. I agree
literally
with that.
make you.
They really bully him.
By the end of it, you know. Oh, he literally can't tell him anything.
He was
keep going, Austin.
Right.
Okay?
And so
you're gonna get a lot more screaming.
Oh no. Okay, so I didn't bring my earplugs. So
you got thumbs.
I do got thumbs. But so it's pretty much just a police procedural of trying to capture these gangsters or whatever. Porter Hall plays the main bad guy in the movie. Lee Van Cleef is one of the henchmen in the film, which he was fine because he didn't have a whole lot to do in the film.
I will give no positives to anything. I don't care if fucking Raquel Welch showed up naked. Nope, 0 stars. Granted, she would have been like 12, so I really would have been mad. Okay,
right. I mean, that's pretty much the premise of the film. Is just going back and forth between Edward G. Robinson getting his contacts. He also has a contact who's a prostitute and has like a house of whatever in the brothel or whatever. And
yes,
yep. And so she has got some stuff. I kind of like their relationship actually about how
Edward G. Robinson
with her
and her.
Yeah, I kind of like that idea of getting the contact.
This is the last episode because I'm never talking about it again.
I thought it was interesting. Not that I approve or anything of it. I thought it was interesting.
I understand.
Where he had
I don't
that
disapprove of that.
Yeah.
Of their relationship.
So
I just think Edward G. Robinson also belongs in prison.
Right. From a technical standpoint, I like the photography. I like the film noir shadows. The opening I thought was kind of neat with when you see the actual murder happen. I thought that was all suspenseful. I'm a big Edward G. Robinson fan, and I was really disappointed because he gave a performance like he did not want to be there. Like it was a very tired. He looked tired.
This was
in this movie.
This was a TV show,
right?
This was essentially
it felt like
TV
yeah,
show.
Absolutely, and it was really generic. It's a super generic movie that I just was really disappointed because I'm like, Vice Squad, it's going to be a film noir. Edward G. Robinson, he's a great energetic actor, and it's not an age thing because I've seen him in movies after this and he gives plenty of good performances, but I just felt like that he was not inspired by anything to give a performance. All his line deliveries just kind of talking like he's
there are times in it where he's talking and I'm like, I think he would rather be the bad guy in this movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But then again, he is the bad guy in this movie. He just doesn't fucking know it.
I did really like the final kind of chase was when the bad guys kidnap that girl and the girl's trying to get away. I thought there were some great shots in that scene, and I thought it had genuine suspense. I wish the whole movie was like that like the final confrontation. Other than that, it was a forgettable generic film. I didn't get any hatred out of it, but it was a generic film, so it's 2 for me.
Okay,
I give it a 2.
Here's the stuff the cops did.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, you're written down?
Okay, there's like a second storyline in this.
Yeah.
That doesn't link up in any way.
No.
And I was like, is this going to link up? Nope, doesn't link up in any way. They had to fill time. We need a second 10-minute storyline. Let's do it. Okay, a woman shows up and says, I think the guy my mother is dating, I just don't like him. I think he's a scamster. And actually, at that point, Edward G. Robinson's like, that we can't do anything about that.
Yeah.
Has he committed a crime?
Yeah.
He eventually just goes, instead, he pivots and says, go arrest that guy, but use the mistaken identity thing. And I'm like, oh, you mean the thing that's horribly illegal? Okay. That thing where you have no probable cause to go arrest somebody? Because you literally, the only probable cause you have is his girlfriend's daughter kind of doesn't like him. That deserves full arresting, okay? That happens there, okay? But also, they have the witness. They find him. The cops, after the cop gets shot,
yeah,
he actively goes there to see if the cop's okay. Other cops show up. At that point, I'm like, oh, he's going to be like accused of this crime. No, they all seem to know he's just a witness. And I'm like, the cops in on this? How do the cops know that guy didn't kill him? Okay, apparently they're in on it. It's just shitty movie. Okay,
yeah.
They bring him in, and they're asking him questions. He goes, "My lawyer says I shouldn't talk till my lawyer gets here."
All right,
and I'm like, they're trying to portray that as being the evilest thing in the world. No, he's doing the thing you should fucking do.
Yeah, absolutely,
get a fucking lawyer.
Yes.
The cops are there. You witnessed a murder. Get a fucking lawyer. Okay?
Yeah.
Obviously, he even has a lawyer. He knows his lawyer well.
Yeah.
So they're waiting on his lawyer. They are totally portraying this as he is a horrible human being.
Absolutely.
Because he's like waiting for his lawyer.
They also treat him like a horrible human being because he had an affair or whatever, too. So they're really...
I guess. I thought he had saw a lady in the night, but I guess it's just an affair. And I'm like, that's not even illegal. Okay?
Right. But it was like frowned upon.
He was literally not even breaking laws. Okay?
No.
So shut up. But so what the lawyer does show up. The lawyer gets him out because he literally has nothing to say. It was the fucking dark. The guy used a gun. You know what happens when you use a gun? You're not standing next to the guy you shot.
Yeah,
okay?
That's right.
So guess what? I didn't see the guy who shot him. Okay? Surprise! I can't give you a fucking description of this guy.
But in the movie, though, did it?
The guy walks up afterward.
Right.
But he saw a gunshot. Then he saw a different guy. But also, it's middle of the fucking night. He still can't give the guy a description. Yeah. How do I know? Later on, he identifies the wrong fucking guy.
Oh, my God.
Okay?
That's right.
But, okay, so the cops show up. Okay, that's why this movie...
I didn't like that actor that played... he was really bad.
Which one?
The one that gets falsely accused. He was like...
God, he was terrible.
He was really bad.
He was shitty.
Yeah.
But, so his lawyer shows up. His lawyer gets him out of there, right?
Yeah.
While they're leaving, the cops literally frame him for assaulting a woman. They get a woman
to
accuse him of assaulting him in the front of the police station. And so they can now legitimately arrest him for shit they fucking made up.
I remember that.
And then the lawyer gets him out again, and they still... Actually, the lawyer's yelling at him at one point. It's like, you can't fucking do this, blah, blah, blah. The lawyer is literally the only actual fucking hero in this. There's the girl who gets kidnapped who's just full victim, and she's... nothing against her. But the lawyer is a legit hero, and when he yells at them and says, I'm gonna fucking... You have to let him out, okay? And Edward G. Robinson fucking knows he's right.
Oh, yeah.
Let him out.
Absolutely.
Edward G. Robinson then fucking calls a guy up and says, move him to the penitentiary. Literally put him in prison.
Yeah.
Because he isn't going to literally lie about the person he saw.
Yep.
How do I know? They find this other guy who's like part of the squad but wasn't there the night of the cop killing.
No, he was not there.
So he like kind of bolts on him.
Yeah.
Which makes perfect sense. I don't want to be part of this cop killing squad, but also I'm not going to rat on him. I'm going to end up in prison one way or the other if I do that. Okay? Which I'm like, I mean, I wish you would rat, but I understand.
Yeah.
Okay? It makes motivational sense for him, but they still arrest him. They think somehow he did do it. The cops 100% believe he is the cop killer.
Yeah.
They bring the witness in. They make the witness say that's the guy, even though he isn't the fucking guy.
No, not at
all. The cops in this have literally kidnapped him.
Yeah.
Fully kidnapped him. As bad or worse than the guy who kidnapped a girl.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay? Also, here's about the other storyline, okay? The other storyline, they bring that guy in.
You got some stuff to say.
They bring that guy in. I have plenty to say, okay? I fucking wrote it down, motherfucker, okay? They bring the other guy in. They bring that other storyline guy in, right? They then get like a linguist because he's claiming he's from like France or some other foreign country. And the linguist talks to him for a second. Granted, they lie to him about that. That's allowed, okay?
Yeah.
Just to get him to talk to somebody, that's allowed, okay? But when they do this, they then talk to him, and then they talk to the linguist. He's not from there. He has a couple of his words talk in a certain Midwestern thing, and I'm like, maybe you fucking moved to Chicago for 3 weeks, you moron, okay? But what they do then is they go get his stuff out of the hotel he's in. They bring his shit, and they said they checked him out of his hotels. You haven't got the right to that. Edward G. Robinson at that point literally says, you're right. We don't have the right to that. But we think you're going to miss your flight if you don't have your shit. And I'm like, you literally admitted to a crime you just committed. You literally committed a crime and then admitted to it.
Yeah.
Fuck you, okay?
Squad.
Also, I got more to talk about, buddy. Here's the thing. There's actually a part of it. After the cop killing, they would cut to the bad guys.
Yeah.
And they're making this stuff up like, oh, they talked to that other guy who wasn't there that one night, and they're talking about this big heist they're planning. The big heist is going to be this fucking phenomenal thing. I'm like, maybe the heist can be cool. Here's the heist.
Oh.
Bring guns to a bank. That's the fucking heist plan.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Another, and then in the bank, like two people... Or actually, like, everybody in the bank just owns guns somehow, okay? And they just start, and there's a shootout in the bank because nobody there understands how insurance works, okay? I'm like, or maybe the pro-gun people should watch that scene and think, maybe if everybody has a gun, it'll just lead to more people dying, because that's all that fucking happens.
That's all that happens.
There's bank employees that die. There's bad guys that die. He kidnaps that one woman as a human shield.
Yeah, absolutely,
Literally human shield.
Yes.
She's actually pretty good at it, because she legit looks fucking terrifying.
Oh, yeah, no.
And I'm like,
she was good.
She looks, I mean, she's cute, too.
Probably the best performance of the movie.
She is actually probably easily the best performance. Actually, no, I like the lawyer, too. The lawyer's really good at it.
Yeah,
he legitimately gets angry.
Yeah.
So, yes, I'm sorry. I talked a long time about how this movie is 0 fucking stars because this movie is perpetuated that cops can do this shit. And they can't fucking do this shit.
Right.
If you fucking see them do that,
put
them all in fucking prison.
It would be one thing if it portrayed them as like, oh, they're corrupt cops. They're the heroes. They're heroes.
They literally frame a guy. They get him to accuse.
Yeah.
He then flips because he's like, I didn't do it. I'm going to tell you guys now about the heist that happened.
Right.
And I'm like, if he didn't know about the heist, they would have put him in prison for the fucking life. They would have put him in the electric chair and killed him.
Because if you watch something like L.A. Confidential, they're doing that shit in that movie too. But they're supposed to be like corrupt.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pieces of shit. In this, they're not pieces of shit.
No, they're like...
You're supposed to go like, oh good, they got the bad guys by accusing innocent people of crime.
That's exactly...
That's all they fucking do.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my god, it fucking drove me insane.
Obviously, it didn't bother me,
It's
but
because
I mean,
you're a terrible bald person.
I no, I understand it. I didn't get all of that when I saw. I mean, I was
Well,
not happy with
we
them.
have a live studio audience. Hi, hi. Are your ears okay? I screamed for 20 minutes. Okay.
My nephew is here, listening.
Yes.
So
he likes listening to me scream.
Yep, and now he's gonna go to bed tonight crying. So
with good reason, because he now found out how corrupt 1953 cops were.
Yeah,
and the fact that it's 2023, and guess what? Same corrupt.
It's funny that
exactly the fucking same.
This movie was not memorable enough for me to even go on a rant like that.
Well, so I remembered it because I was fucking enraged the entire time. Okay?
It was just kind of, to me, very forgettable. Generic film.
I wrote it. This in my notes. It's in my notes. And then they did this, and now they're doing this. Oh look, the witness is completely innocent, and they framed him. Oh look, now they're gonna put him in fucking penitentiary for a fucking reason. Oh god, it fucking drove me insane. But that's me. You know, okay, as we have said in this.
Yeah.
When people are actively horrible and you're supposed to like them,
oh,
I fucking hate it.
Yeah, you get really bad.
If you're horrible and you're supposed to not like them, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
that's fine. Matter of fact, the next movie, people aren't so great, but you're also not supposed to think they're great because of the horrible things they've done.
Right. So the next movie, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Now, this is awesome because this is a Howard Hawks film, which I'm a huge Howard Hawks fan. He's actually one of my favorite filmmakers. He's done so many different types of movies. So he did Bringing Up Baby, which is one of my favorite comedies of all time. He did Rio Bravo, which is one of my favorite westerns of all time. He's just, hands down, just one of the best filmmakers out there. He did I Was a Male War Bride with Cary Grant. That's a really funny movie. He did the original Scarface in 1932. So he's been around, and his last movie was 1970 Rio Lobo, which was a John Wayne Western, which is not his best movie, but it's still pretty good. And then another movie that he did, I've just recently rewatched, is Hatari, a John Wayne film. Hatari. It's Swahili for danger. And
does it take place in Africa?
Yeah.
Oh.
And
okay,
well,
weird.
I think you would have a hard time watching that movie because it is literally the plot of the movie is them trying to get animals for zoos, and they will capture them. And
okay,
I don't know.
They don't murder the animals.
No,
it isn't great that they're getting them for the zoos. But I mean, it's not as bad as it could be. I guess.
Anyways, I love that movie too. But anyways, this is Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and what's great. So we watched the first 4 movies we saw were all black and white. We sit down into this movie theater. The 20th Century Studio logo goes on, and it's bright color. And then the first thing you see is Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe wearing bright red glittering outfits.
Oh yeah.
Bam. And they just start singing. Not even the titles. This is
because I think Star Wars got in trouble for not having opening credits before stuff.
It's a pre-title sequence. That,
but then again, you're watching Jen Russell.
Right.
Monroe,
but it just...
What am I going to complain about this?
Yeah, and the song, which I love the song, which Just Two Little Girls from Little Rock.
Oh yeah. Every song in this is fucking phenomenal.
And they sing this song. And have you seen this before?
I had seen every scene from it, but not in a coherent thing that made it into
so
a movie.
I've seen this several times. And I will tell you right now, this is one of my all-time favorite films.
Oh, okay.
I love this movie.
0 stars.
Yeah, I'm like, come on, you can't give this movie 0 stars. This movie is so good. Anyway, so Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe play showgirls, Dorothy and Lorelei Lee. And Dorothy's Jane Russell, Lorelei Lee is Marilyn Monroe. They are the plot of this is wafer thin.
Oh yeah, it is
wafer thin. Well, like the purpose of them getting on the boat.
There's like 4 plots.
Yeah.
They're all
there's a lot of subplots, but not a real plot.
But if you sat on them like a chair, they'd all snap. Okay? they do not. They do not hold weight.
So Lorelai has this fiance who's this kind of dorky looking dude as Mr. Esmond.
I've seen him and stuff, but I couldn't figure out what it was.
Taylor Holmes. No. It's Gus, Tommy Noonan.
He's like an ugly Cary Grant.
yeah. He's a nerdy. I wouldn't say ugly, but he's nerdy. He's a nerdy Cary Grant. Yeah. I think he's kind of cute. I mean, he's a cute little boy.
Yeah. I mean, it isn't completely out of the realm. Like, sure, the fact that he's rich helps, but also if she does kind of leech on some really creepy, ugly old guy later. I'm like, that guy's fucking dying of cancer.
Charles Coburn. Oh yeah. So you find out about like their engagement, but you find out that his father is not approving of this marriage or that's going to happen because they plan on going on a cruise to Paris and get married in Paris. And she's really doing that so she can
which confused me because he's not on that cruise.
Well, no, because he gets a phone call. Looks like you're not going to go to Paris after all, is what Jane Russell says, and then that's why she's like, "Well, I'm going to go on that cruise anyways."
Jane Russell doesn't like him either.
No, and Jane Russell's
she mostly doesn't like him because she doesn't want Marilyn Monroe to settle down.
Right.
She wants a friend of hers to also bang around. Okay?
Right. So Marilyn Monroe is like, well, I'm going to go to Paris on this ship anyways, and he's got to come and get me if he wants to have me. So that's kind of like the premise of the film.
Mm-hmm.
They get on this cruise, and then a bunch of hijinks happens, and Marilyn Monroe meets this diamond guy that owns a diamond mine, and played by Charles Coburn. And then she wants this tiara that Charles Coburn's wife has. He gives it to her.
It's a great scene when they meet because Charles Coburn's wife immediately knows exactly what Marilyn Monroe's up to and fucking hates her.
Right.
Says, I'm going to lose this fight.
Jane Russell,
because Marilyn Monroe is going to win any fight. Okay.
Jane Russell is like the chaperone trying to keep Lorelai in order, right?
Yeah.
And then there's a private investigator that is hired by Gus's Marilyn Monroe's fiance's father. Hires this guy to watch. And his name is Ernie Malone, played by Elliot Reed, who I don't think I've ever really seen in a movie, but I like him. He was good. But he is like trying to get Marilyn Monroe, incriminating photos to see if anything, like if she's misbehaving or trying to like gold dig her way into get money from guys. But he also at the same time falls in love with Jane Russell. And then Jane Russell also falls in love.
That whole thing was like, I think she says, I'm thinking of falling in love with him. And I'm like, don't you hate him? Because you really hate his fucking guts. But also she loves him. I'm like, you're a confusing lady. Okay?
So it goes, and then they get to Paris, and then they're broke because they cut the funds off because of private investigator,
has caught her on, they were hugging. Okay. That is one hell of a joke. Okay.
That's
they
good.
Talk about, he acted like he was the Python. And I'm like, this is full-fledged dick jokes right here. In 1953.
The movie, there is a lot of innuendo.
Oh, there is a lot. But that one was like, holy shit.
All right. Anyways,
the guy's freaking crotchety.
So this is the premise of the film. I think from minute one to closing minute, I love every second of this movie.
Oh, good.
I do. And the opening, when it just the pre-title sequence and they're singing the Little Rock song, and then all of a sudden, boom, the big colorful titles of Gentlemen for Blondes comes on, and then after the credits, it goes to them they're in the backstage, and right away, Jane Russell in this movie, by the way, is phenomenal.
She's great.
I love her so much in this movie. She's so funny. She steals almost every scene that she's in from Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe's great in this too.
She's great, but when they're both on there, it's actually more about Jane Russell.
Oh, absolutely, Jane Russell.
Like, boy, you're showing up Marilyn fucking Monroe.
Well, this was the movie that really, because Marilyn Monroe acted in some movies, but this was the one that really put her at superstar status. This was the one that, at this point, like 1950, she was in Asphalt Jungle, where she had played a gangster's girlfriend, and she was just doing little bit parts, major supporting roles in movies like Monkey Business, which was also directed by Howard Hawks with Cary Grant. 1 year earlier, she's a supporting role in it. But this was like her first big starring musical role, and she knocks it out of the park. She's really good in it too. But Jane Russell, she has so many one-liners in this movie, and she's so great.
Oh, she's
one of my favorite. One of the first ones is when Marilyn Monroe is like, I saw Mr. Esmond outside and his pocket was bulging. Could be a bag of gumdrops. Like that line is so funny. It's so great. And then another line is when I love Charles Coburn in this movie as Sir Francis Piggy Beekman.
Oh yeah,
he's terrific. He's so funny. Soon as he sees
ancient. How old was he in this fucking movie?
Let's take a look.
He was not. He didn't look healthy.
Oh, 1970. So he was in his 70s. He was 70.
He was 84.
He was like 77 or 78.
He was late 70s.
Yeah.
The fact he didn't die for another 8 years is very confusing because he does not look healthy.
But he was really funny. But when he first sees Lorelai, he's like, "Oh my, heaven's sakes!" And then Marilyn Monroe looks at him, and literally his head turns into a diamond like a fucking Bugs Bunny cartoon.
It did. Very
so
much.
funny.
She knows.
That was so funny.
Her fiance's not there right now, so I'm gonna go all the way.
Oh, and when they first enter the ship, Jane Russell, she sees all the guys, and it's the Olympic team. She's like, "Oh, that's the Olympic team." She's like, "The Olympic team for me." Oh, you shouldn't have.
I was like, well, at that point, I'm like, which sport? I thought they were like rowers or something.
Right.
They're like swimmers, apparently.
But she, and then they have like before they leave, she's on there, and then like Marilyn Monroe and her fiance are on the boat because he's seeing her off, and they're throwing like a party. And Dorothy Shaw, I hope you keep those Olympics team to yourself. It's like, what a coincidence. That's what I plan on doing. I mean, she's so funny. And I will say this right now. Both actresses in this film, I mean, yes, there are obviously some shitty guys that are like oogling over the girls in this movie.
Yeah.
However, not 1 second in this movie are Jane Russell and Marilyn Monroe not in complete control. They are in complete power. I
think Marilyn Monroe loses power in some of the situations because she loses her fiance at one point. Granted, by the end,
yeah. No, but I just mean when they walk into a room. Oh, yeah. Like there's a scene when they walk into the dinner hall and everybody literally looks at them and is like walking towards them. All the guys.
The entire room. Stops.
Right. And they walk, and there's the look in Jane Russell's face is like, yep, I made this happen. Like she knew that's exactly what she was trying to do. The reason the guys were looking at her is because she wanted them to. And that's what's so great about this movie. I think it's in ways, I think a really good female empowerment film.
I'm not sure what was going on when in the courtroom where she's blonde and she's impersonating Marilyn Monroe's character. And I'm like, why is she doing this?
She's doing that because she's trying to give time to Marilyn, because Marilyn Monroe's trying to get money out of.
Yeah, but she fails.
Right, absolutely, yeah. Anyways, but the musical numbers are great in this movie.
I mean, that was funny. I understand.
Yeah.
She says we need blah 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 money. He goes, that'll take an hour and 45 minutes.
Marilyn Monroe knows exactly what she's doing. And so Jane Russell's the smartass in this. Marilyn Monroe is playing the ditzy blonde, but she's
secretly not as ditzy.
But she's playing a ditzy blonde. Yeah. Like she is being dumb on purpose. And there's, I mean, just the stuff that she does, like the scene in the movie when her future husband is trying to talk to her fiance is trying to talk to her, and she's bouncing on the bed.
Oh, I put that in my notes.
You find that? That's
distracting bouncing. It's literally written right there.
That's very distracting. Can you stop that, Lorelai? I mean,
I wrote that down before he said distracting bouncing.
But her performance in this movie, she is such a funny, like, she gets known for being, like, obviously a sex symbol that she was. I don't think people give her enough credit. She's a funny comedian.
Oh,
like,
she's
she
good.
Is really funny in the movie.
Is this like where basically she got bigger?
Yeah, this is it. Yeah, this is it.
I thought.
And then 2 years later with the 7-Year Itch, when she does that's the one where she has the the dress and the vent. By Billy Wilder.
Jane does commit fraud and perjury. Okay.
What? Who does?
Jane does.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But whatever. Okay.
It's a musical and it's Gentlemen for Blondes.
That's the whole thing.
So great.
I can't rip on this because all those similar things happen in the previous
Vice
comedies. Okay? Not just Vice Squad. But also in basically
Francis and CADDY.
Similar people, which are fucking terrible. Well, actually, Francis, the only terrible person is that one reporter chick.
But they're so different from each other because Marilyn Monroe likes money and Jane Russell doesn't care. She was like, oh, I don't care if it's a poor person or not. And she's like, come on, people, not everybody cares about money. And Marilyn Monroe's like, because Jane Russell was like, people don't really care about money. It's like, come on, we're talking serious now.
Well, actually, Marilyn accuses her of only liking the guy because he's
good looking.
No, because he's poor. You actually like him more because he's poor.
Right.
Him having money would make you like him less.
And
although they somehow get married together, the rich guy and the poor guy
get
married about them. Whatever.
At the end of the movie, so in the middle of the movie. What's really funny, I love the scene with the little kid. Oh my God.
The little kid? With the porthole?
He's so funny. That scene's great.
That's full-blown Lucille Ball hilarity.
Yeah. Well, what's funny, because they introduce him because Marilyn Monroe's trying to find a rich person for Jane Russell. So she looks at like the ship charter or whatever, and she's like, oh, have this guy Henry Spotted the Third. I bet you he's super rich. You're going to seat him next to Jane Russell. And then it's just literally like a 7-year-old kid.
She gets it to work. Even though the guy says no.
Yeah.
But somehow it happens.
Yeah.
And the guy's literally 7. The kid still is creepy on the girls.
Oh,
okay?
when he comes in here and he's just like, "Ooh, this is looking to be a promising cruise."
I still like Pretty Ladies.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're a creepy kid. But then the kid,
I appreciate a good looking women.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Jane Russell like looks at Marilyn Monroe. How am I doing? You know, it's just like, she's so funny in the movie. But there's a scene in the movie where there's a photo that was taken by Ernie. They're trying to get it from his room. And Marilyn Monroe is looking at his room, and then she's trying to escape by going through the little circle porthole room door. And she gets stuck because of her hips. And she's like stuck. And
well, she measures it.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Her hips.
But
she actually does get through.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
the
yeah.
hips are a little bit wider than she would expect.
Right.
She's all figure, baby.
But then the kid walks by and sees her, is like, hello. It's like, are you a burglar?
Are you a burglar? Are you a burglar?
It's not burglar, it's burglar.
If I help you, I will be helping a burglar.
Yeah, I'm going to be incriminating. I was like, I'll help you for 2 reasons. And he's like, you've got a lot of animal magnetism or something like that. And then the scene, crazy. Piggy starts coming as he's trying to get her out. And he's like, quick, throw this on. So they throw this blanket on and he's underneath it. And they do like that old-fashioned gag where his hand comes up, pretending like it's hers, the little kid. And then the guy even like kisses the boy's hand and he's like, stop that.
Yeah.
And then he goes, why do you like that guy? Don't you know his intentions aren't honorable? He says that to Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, that's funny. My favorite musical number though, Diamonds Are Forever is a wonderful musical number. My favorite is Ain't There Anyone Here for Love? And it's towards the beginning of the movie when they first get on the ship.
The swimmers.
Oh my gosh. So it's the swim team and it's a very eye candy for, guy eye candy.
Actually, I was like, holy shit, those dudes are legit buff and hot.
Oh, yeah. And they were, they're wearing super short, skin-colored shorts, so it almost looks like they're nude.
Yeah,
right?
Those are some skimpy trunks.
And there's some homoerotic stuff going on in there too, which is great. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It just starts off.
That's right. They do have some longing looks between each other.
It's great.
It's weird.
It's great. And I just love this scene. And it starts off with like this trumpet, like dun, 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 dun. And as
the thing you're going to say at the end, I already know.
Well, and as that happens, one of the guys flexes his muscle, and her head is right behind, and she literally looks like cross-eyed at the muscle. Yeah. She's like, honey,
it's cartoon-like, but they don't need to use animation.
Honey,
she's just good at
you'll
it.
hurt yourself. Yeah. And then one of my favorite lines that she says in the movie is like, I love big muscles and hardcore puzzles. I love a beautiful hunk of man. And like, if I would ever do drag, that's the song I would do.
Oh, good for you.
I would love to do that.
I need to see this.
Because that song is just so funny to me. And the choreography, and then, the swimming, the scene when the swimmers are diving over her, and she gets knocked in.
She gets knocked, that was a mistake.
That had been a mistake,
awesome,
yeah.
Because it totally works.
It was just like, it looked like it hurt.
It does.
When you watch it, you're like...
I don't think the next thing that they showed was actually filmed next.
Oh, no, it was an edit. It was an edit.
We have to make sure that she isn't drowning, okay? If she hit her head
or got knocked out.
Fell into the pool.
Yeah. No, that scene's good. Some other Jane Russell... sorry, I gush about this movie. This is my...
I wonder. I'll allow it, being I gush pretty long about the previous one.
But Jane Russell, when she does some of her lines... Two of that I really like is when Lady Beekman, Piggy's, who has such a great, her name's Norma Varden. I love her. She just has a super snooty look on her face. Like resting snoot face is what they call it. Like,
good. That's a good description.
She's so great. Like proper British, like, oh, really?
She only looks down her nose.
Yeah,
That's the only way she looks down.
And she walks into the room wearing all the diamonds. She's like, looks at her and like, hey, this is Lady Beekman. Oh, I thought it was this diamond mine.
Well, she's wearing a lot of diamonds.
And then
a lot of diamonds. And she also brings the tiara with her.
Well,
wherever she goes.
Oh my God.
That tiara is basically the gross national.
Oh yeah, and Marilyn Monroe's like trying to put it. Marilyn Monroe takes the tiara and like, oh, do you put it on your neck? She's like, oh, you put it on your head. She's like, oh, don't be silly. He's like,
you're trying to fuck with me.
He's like, well,
say that, but
she's like, well, there's really no other explanation sometimes. So, but she wears it and she really wants it. Well, when she takes it, they're like trying to get it back, and Lady Beekman is like,
he gives it to her.
Oh yeah,
but then he steals it back from her.
Yeah,
but
the scene at the hotel when Lady Beekman is just like, well, I'm gonna get it back, and I just want to let you know that I mean business. And Jane Russell, without missing a beat, goes, "Then why are you wearing that hat?" Yeah, I love this movie. I think it's just really well directed. I love all the performances in the film. I've watched it over and over again. Again, I think it's a great empowerment film for women. I mean, even though there's some nasty men in the movie, they are in control, and I think it's just great. It's a 4-star movie for me. I love it.
It's 3.5.
Okay. Oh, you really?
It's not perfect.
So talk a little bit. I know I was talking a lot about what I thought, but
it's a good movie. Okay. Let me see here.
Movie. Yeah. You like musicals.
I'm trying to come up with.
I didn't really talk.
I used up a lot of energy in that previous movie.
I didn't really
and the
talk.
problem is, I have bad news for you. I need to save some energy for the next movie.
Oh no!
Okay?
So I didn't really talk a lot about the Diamonds Are Girl's Best Friend, but man, that is such an iconic film.
Yeah. That's why I literally have seen every scene of this movie.
I mean, that scene is great too.
In order. I haven't seen them in order in the last 54 years of my life.
That scene is really good too. Like, I mean, everything.
Although in actuality, when the Diamonds Are a Girl Best Friend song starts, there's stuff in the beginning. I'm like, I have not seen some of this, apparently.
Oh, when they're just doing the intro with the guys walking around.
They usually start it where she actually starts the actual Diamonds Are a Girl Best Friend.
Yeah.
But there's a bunch of preamble song before that. And I'm like,
the art direction.
I have not seen some of this.
The art direction, the chandeliers, and women are literally hanging from the chandeliers.
Oh, yeah.
It's so weird.
Yeah, that stuff. I'm like, I know I've never seen that before because that is fucking memorable.
So, yes. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes. I'm just like, bam, love it. I love it. Really big on my notes. Okay. I love that movie. Yes.
All right. Let's see here. She does call him Daddy. I do remember that.
Daddy. Oh, Daddy.
I was like, is his name Danny? But then they call him Gus, and I'm like, nope, she's saying Daddy.
Oh yeah.
Because at one point his actual dad shows up.
Yeah.
And
she calls his daddy. He's like, oh, not you.
Not confusing. And I'm like, holy shit, that's some creepy weirdness.
I love.
Okay.
I do the whole thing too when she's just like trying to convince the old man like that they should get married. And he's like, "Say, they told me you were stupid."
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You're not stupid.
It's a phenomenal movie. It's a phenomenal movie.
Yay! I'm glad you like it.
It's surrounded by movies I don't like.
Oh no, Houdini.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah. You're about to get some yelling.
Okay, so this is Houdini. This is a double feature that we saw. Houdini, 1953, and Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh, which husband and wife in this movie. They're married in this film. They're married already. And this is Jamie Lee Curtis's parents in the film.
Okay, yeah.
Now Houdini is directed by George Marshall. George Marshall he's directed almost every type of movie, and he's directed Laurel and Hardy and W.C. Fields and Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin. He also directed a movie that is way better than this movie that we saw in 1959, or we went to 1960, The Gazebo.
Oh, really?
A great
movie.
Gazebo
is really
awesome
good.
Movie.
It's
awesome
really
movie.
good.
Yeah. But he's
like, I don't actually have anything against the director in this.
No.
I'm going to be ranting about the writing of this movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Houdini. It's obviously Harry Houdini, and I was really excited to see this because I'm interested in Houdini's career. Not that you're going to learn anything.
You don't learn shit in this movie.
No.
Okay. Because this movie is a fucking hit piece on Houdini. Okay. This movie says, let's do a thing about Houdini, but also let's get everything wrong and make Houdini look like a fucking monster.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah. It really jumps around all over the place. It starts with him.
It's got biopic problems.
Oh, absolutely. And that was my issue with the film. But it starts off with him being at a circus sideshow, and he's like doing like the freak show dude. But then he also does some like half-ass magic tricks and stuff. And Janet Leigh's like, oh, who's this guy? And then it was really confusing because she's like, oh, wow, he's really fascinating. And then he starts hitting on her. I hate you. And then, no, I'll go on a date with you.
That movie, the movie really lost me already.
It was just like,
I'm like, wait, what the fuck just happened?
Wait,
now she's like literally stalking him, and he's stalking her. What the fuck just happened in this fucking shitty ass garbage movie that doesn't understand a fucking thing about Houdini?
Yeah. So then it shows how best they end up. She ends up being like his assistant. But then they get married, and she wants to end up. She was like, "Well, I want you to get a real job so we can support ourselves." But he has this dream of being. He wants to entertain people. And so he gets a job at a locksmith factory. But then he ends up studying safes and stuff, and he's figuring out how to get out of safes. And he's like, "You know what? I want to actually do this for a living." And then she's like, nope. And then she's like, yep, okay, I'll follow you.
Yeah, I legit don't know if Houdini ever had to.
Yeah, I don't. I have no idea. I don't know.
But it really,
I
was,
do.
it was really bad.
This movie, though, this movie is known really for not being historically accurate.
Yeah, well, the ending is really fucking atrocious. Atrocious.
So, oh yeah.
They literally. I'm sorry. Well, keep going.
Yeah.
Because I will be screaming later.
Oh no.
It might not be quite as loud.
Okay.
So I broke my voice.
So it ends up, they show all of his famous magic tricks, all that stuff. But then he goes to Europe. He becomes famous. He comes to America, and then and then it ends with the actual the scene where he dies. So
yeah, but that's not how he fucking died. I mean. They it went in this. Okay, I guess I'm going backwards.
Yeah. So
okay,
go ahead.
I'm going to go backwards in my ranting here.
Yeah.
But in actuality, they sort of reference how he died because he died of a burst appendix.
Yeah.
He his appendicitis or whatever.
Yep.
In this, he hits his stomach, but then he gets in a water torture thing, and I'm like, you didn't die in a water torture thing. You died in a fucking hospital like everybody else in the fucking world. Okay. He did do a show 3 days earlier where he was in pain, but he didn't die, and he actively would not have done something while in that condition that might have killed him. So that show is going to actually be kind of a boring show, okay? It's I'm going to do the lamest version of tricks, okay? But in this, okay, let's see. I got to look at my notes because my brain was so pissed off literally 20 minutes into this movie. It goes full Hollywood bullshit in the beginning where he's creeping on her, and I'm like, why is this in this fucking movie? This has nothing to do with Houdini.
Right.
Just start the movie where he's fucking married, okay?
Yeah.
We don't need this shit. This is not Houdini stuff. This is fucking Hollywood bullshit. But I did recognize that the outfit she was wearing was the most uncomfortable waist thing. It was
right.
She had a fucking rope that was wrapped around her waist, and then they just cinched it as tight as possible. It was really crazy.
Yeah, so I'm looking at him. So, he had appendicitis. He had to have surgery.
Yeah.
He took the stage, and he did pass out during the show, but was revived, but then he died at the hospital.
Yeah, which in actuality, if they did that in a fucking movie, that would actually be more interesting than literally making him to be a guy who also promised his wife earlier that fucking day
that he wasn't going to do that.
And then he does it, and it kills him.
Right.
And
which
I'm like,
didn't happen that way.
This fucking shitty garbage. I already knew that going in, though. I'm like,
oh, you did?
I knew that in the movie he was dying during the water torture trick. Okay. But I'm like, that's not how he fucking died.
So
but I already knew that going in because that is famously stupid and wrong.
So I will say this. I think the movie looks fantastic. The production values, obviously, we've seen a lot of movies in black and white, but with Gentlemen Prefer Blondes and then this movie, Houdini, I love the color photography in the film. It looks great.
Yeah.
I also really like Janet Leigh in the movie. I thought she was really good.
She's pretty good. I
liked her.
They kind of portray her as being kind of bitchy.
Oh, I'm not talking. I was more of her performance.
But also, I don't know anything about Houdini's wife.
No, I'm just talking I liked her performance. I'm not necessarily the way they did her character.
Yeah.
Tony Curtis.
We're different people. Fuck that garbage.
So I normally like Tony Curtis. But he's not one of my favorite actors. And Tony Curtis as Harry Houdini is Tony Curtis. He is not doing a character. He's doing Tony Curtis.
I saw that immediately. And I'm like, oh, he's not. I don't get Houdini vibes from him.
No, not at all.
I get creepy guy. He was a creepy guy. He was
Operation Petticoat.
He did that too. He was also kind of a creepster in that. I'm like, is this a creepster in movies?
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. But it does have a lot of the biopic problems too, where you just it keeps on jumping around.
Which I can somewhat forgive that because it's a fucking biopic,
right?
I mean, granted, it does do the thing where it's like, I guess Tony Curtis is supposed to be young, and then they put some gray hair in him, but his mother actively looks identically aged to him through the entire time. And in reality, his mother couldn't even speak English. No. But I'm like, in this movie, I can, to make her a character, sure, okay, she speaks English. So it's not a big deal.
Tony Curtis' performance was for me. I didn't really like the stuff towards the end of the movie too, where he's trying to debunk the spiritualists, because that kind of gets you like that part.
That's almost accurate.
Okay.
I mean, it is accurate. The one they did in there was okay, who in their fucking right mind would go to that spiritual and believe what the fuck just happened?
Right.
That was the stupidest shit I've ever fucking seen. Okay.
Yeah, they literally have it looks like the Haunted Mansion ride at Disneyland. Oh God!
And then there's hands floating in the sky in the air.
No one's gonna believe that.
What the fuck is happening? This is the stupidest.
However, it looked cool for a film.
Yeah, it looked good in the movie, but it's not a thing where it's because the other guy's like, oh my God, he's like fascinated. And I'm
No.
like, has that guy been dropped in his head earlier today? That guy's fucking really stupid.
No.
He's really, really dumb. That guy should not believe this. It's really, really
So
stupid.
I liked the look of the film. I liked the stuff early on at the carnival. I thought that was neat. But it should have been special about this movie, Harry Houdini. And
It should
obviously,
be.
I'm giving it probably way too high. I give it a 2.5.
Oh God, that's full 1.5 word me. I'm going one.
1 star.
As much as I hated
I
a
thought
lot
it was
about
watchable.
it.
I thought it was watchable for me.
Which actually,
but
I mean, it was
it
moving
should have been a
fine
lot
to a
better.
degree. But he broke out of that British prison. That sort of that jail cell.
Yeah.
That happened. I didn't feel like in this movie the way he got like challenged in the middle of a show, and I'm like, that's not the fucking way that happened. Okay,
well, it was a hired actor, anyways.
Yeah. You're right. Then he breaks out. I enjoyed that scene where he put the thing on his foot, and the other guy was trying to follow him. I'm like, this scene's pretty fucking funny. And
there was some weird humor in the film that didn't fit, though.
It was a great shot when in Lake Detroit.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
The crate he's in falls. Yeah. That shot where it falls, and then you see it underground.
And he's
like,
stuck
that's
under
awesome.
ice.
But then he breaks out, and then he swims off in the random direction. Up. You fell down. Swim up, you fucking imbecile. Okay? It's like, I couldn't find the hole. And I'm like, of course not. You did. You went the wrong direction, you fucking dullard.
I mean...
And then he goes, then I heard my mother's voice, and his mother died that day and shit. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. Okay? This is fucking stupid.
I mean, in his defense, I don't know if I fell down in ice and I don't know where the fuck I was underneath there.
Well, but he actively his whole plan was to break out of the thing and then swim up.
Yeah.
Why not follow the plan, you fucking doofus? Well, also, they eventually get the crate out, and then they open the crate and he's not in it, and I'm like, did he take time to reclose the crate? No, I saw him get out of the crate. He didn't fucking reclose the crate. Okay, he was in a panic mode because it fell, and that wasn't supposed to happen. Maybe it was supposed to happen, but I don't think it was. Here's the thing: they can make an entire fucking movie about this thing where his mother dies, and he's actively trying to see if he can contact her. That shit actually happened, and then he would debunk him. And in this is like, why does Harry Houdini need to debunk this woman? She's the dumbest seance person in the fucking world. She's literally hired a guy to stand outside in a fucking sheet, okay? With a fucking mask on the sheet. I'm like, yeah, so scary believable, okay? Just like, no, you do it in the way that everything is just sort of insinuated to have stuff has happened.
Right.
That's the way you would actually fucking do it. And I'm like, ugh. But I'm going to give it 1 just because there are a couple of things that happen in it where I'm like, I was kind of entertained. But boy, there were times in it where I was just like, I'm fucking seething. But I didn't have enough seethe left in me from the 2 movies ago. I'm like, I mean, I can't hate anything as much as I hated that. That thing used up all my fucking venom for this movie for today. Which might be why I kind of like the next movie. I'm pretty good about.
Yes! Thank you.
Maybe I just used up my hate, but I'm like, no, this movie's okay.
So Houdini, after we watched Houdini, a little short break, got some popcorn, came back. The Silver Whip, which was a B movie Western, released. It was a Fox movie, 20th Century Fox. But it was their B division, which they would make, and it was literally.
This is a fucking legitimately. They just went to TV show sets and made a fucking movie. There,
absolutely,
okay?
And it was. I wonder if it was shot like on the Spawn Ranch or something.
There's some good camera work in this movie.
Absolutely. This was an hour and 13 minutes. It is a short film.
It's weird because as much as I didn't hate it by the end, I'm like, that movie felt long.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't think it was.
Maybe I was just in the like. This has been a long day.
It was our 7th movie. Yeah. But yeah, it's a pretty straightforward Western. With a little bit at the end. It was like, it had a little bit.
Every character's motivation in this made sense to me.
Yeah,
and that's the thing that I liked about it.
There you go. Well,
people like that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense.
So this was directed by Harmon Jones, who did a lot of B movies back then, and so he was pretty much hired to do these types of movies. So it has 3 main characters. One is Robert Wagner as Jess Harker. He's this young stagecoach driver.
Hadn't killed any wives yet.
Nope. So he just
allegedly.
Sorry, don't get too much in trouble. Rory Calhoun plays the sheriff of the town that he works for, and then Dale Robinson plays Race, who is kind of like his mentor a little bit. because he's kind of just this badass kind of.
I saw Roy Calhoun showing up, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's from Simpsons memes. And I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
I'm not gonna fucking recognize him. I don't know which one of these.
yeah,
is
he was
who.
the sheriff. Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, I don't know. I figured it was either him or
Race.
that other guy, and I'm like, I don't know which one of those.
So,
is right now.
but Race is kind of
the.
But Race is the guy that's kind of telling Robert Wagner what to do. He's like, okay,
Robert
you gotta do
Wagner is
this.
so fucking crazy young in this. I did
He was
literally
really young. Yeah.
If they didn't tell me who it was, I would not have recognized him.
Yeah, so-
until he talked, and then I'm
Right. So he was he was 23 in the film. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow.
So he's pretty young. But yeah, Robert Wagner, he's a stagecoach driver, but he's driving like because it has this narration where he's like, I want to drive the six horse wagon
it starts
train.
off with some voiceover.
But
it doesn't go on and on and on
but
like
he's
the previous voiceover.
No. But he's just like, you know what? I'm just doing this like 1 horse, 2 horse, whatever.
Yeah.
And
he's going back and forth between this town and a neighboring town, and that's all he fucking does.
But he wants to get there, and so he gets an opportunity to he finds the opportunity to do so.
He's going to leave.
He's going to leave town because his girlfriend
gets him this job.
Gets Race to like, hey, see if you can get him the job. So
Yeah.
he gets the job as kind of like a trial almost. They're like, okay, we'll give it a try, and they put a bunch of gold into the stagecoach. Well, this one jerk of a guy finds out about it and like gets a posse to rob the stagecoach.
Yeah.
Also, Race's girl is a passenger in the stagecoach.
Yes,
this happens.
Yeah.
So then
they're going to go to the same like wedding or something.
So when the stagecoach gets robbed and the sheriff isn't with, but Race goes with Jess, played by that's Robert Wagner's character, Jess. But then it gets robbed, and there's a shootout that happens, and Race's girl gets shot and killed during the shootout.
Yeah.
And Race goes full on revenge. He's like, I'm gonna fucking kill this guy.
He's also mad at Robert Wagner because he didn't do the thing he needs to do in that
Which
situation.
he should have left.
He's the fucking driver. You have to fucking leave with the stuff.
Yep.
It has the people. It has the stuff they're obviously trying to
But
steal.
Jess didn't want to
have the
do it
option
because he
to
didn't want to
fucking
leave. He didn't want to leave Race
I
behind.
can't leave you behind.
Right.
Literally saying this right next to his girlfriend's dead body. And I'm like, I might not talk about that.
Right. So it was a bad. Well, and it's really neat because it's a bad decision that he has to live with.
Oh yeah,
and he learns from it.
And it's a bad decision, and they call him out on it. And he
absolutely.
legitimately feels bad about it.
Yeah.
Unlike I've seen other movies where the guy would double down on this thing. And
so,
I'm
anyways,
like, no, he knows it was wrong.
So then there's like a party that led by the sheriff, Rory Calhoun, and Robert Wagner goes with him for a little bit to go track down the killer guy and his gang. And so when they kill pretty much everyone in the gang except for the main guy who actually killed him. And so they find him.
They capture a couple of people.
They do.
Yeah.
And so when Race finds him, Race is like, I'm going to kill him. But the sheriff's like, nope, I'm not going to let you do that.
Sheriff pulls a gun on him because he's about to like
and they're best friends.
They start his character out where he saves Robert Wagner from being like whipped by assholes.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this Silver Whip movie started with some real whipping.
And well, the Silver Whip calls for it's a whip that
it means you're the lead guy.
But Race gives
you're higher rank.
Well, Race gives him the Silver Whip, and he's like, "Here's your Silver Whip."
It's a fucking long ass whip. It's
and it's right, literally,
it's a weird looking whip. Okay.
The last third of the movie, though, they have the bad guy in prison, but Race and all the other townspeople want to hang him right now. Don't want to wait for a trial.
He lies to him and says the judge is coming tomorrow, and then he's like, "Okay, got to make sure we hopefully can get the judge tomorrow."
And and then when they find out,
line.
and then when it's rumored that he's not coming, that's when they go and full lynch mob the town. Jess shoots Race. He shoots him
to save the criminals' lives, which I'm like. I understand everybody's motivation in this fucking movie.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I'm like,
it's pretty neat.
The cop in this, the sheriff, or Roy Calhoun, does the stuff that I'm like, I want cops in movies to do. They fucking never do. Okay.
Yeah. No, I was actually pleasantly surprised with this movie. It's a fun movie.
Oh,
it's well made. It's short enough that any flaws that it does have, you don't really mind it too much.
It's short enough to watch in the middle of the fucking night after 6 other movies.
Absolutely. And so the one person I really liked, and I've never seen him before, I really like Dale Robertson as Race. Like when the first time he shows up, really he's all in black and he's at the bar and he's meeting Robert Wagner's character and actually the first time you see him is when he saves him. Yeah. And he's just a badass. Yeah. And that scene is great because Jess, Robert Wagner's character, is on the stagecoach and they literally lock wheels with another stagecoach.
Yeah,
and he's like, and the guy's just like, "Hey, get the fuck out of here! What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm sorry, it's an accident.
We can back out. It won't be that long."
And the guy's like,
instead, like an actual asshole in the real world, you can just scream about it, or you can do something about it.
He was, but then But then literally the bad guy takes a whip and it goes over Robert Wagner's neck and he gets pulled off.
Yeah,
I was like, holy shit.
This is like 1 minute into this fucking movie.
Yeah, it was crazy. But then Race comes in, Dale Robertson comes in and he's just...
Well, he steps on the whip because the guy reaches back and he steps on it and they show his foot and I'm like, that was pretty cool. Actually, so far this movie's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I thought that was cool. There's one thing and I can't remember what he says.
Didn't you write it down?
I can't read my writing.
Look at those chicken scratches. Jesus fucking Christ, your writing is atrocious.
It is really bad. But anyways, what he says though, he's just like, he says something to the effect of like, hey, is there a problem here? There's like, no problem. And he just like, punches the guy out. And I'm like, yes. I mean, he was such a badass in this movie. So immediately I'm like, okay, I like this character. I mean, Robert Wagner is good in the movie. But Dale Robertson is Race.
Robert Wagner is the main character.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's good, but and Rory Calhoun's also really good as the sheriff. But for me, just Dale Robertson really made an impression as just being this badass dude. And then when his girl gets killed, holy shit, better look out because he's going after them.
Oh fuck! And we got 40 minutes left of this movie.
Well,
it's gonna be a fucking chase.
And what I really liked about when they were pursuing the guy in the rocks. It felt like more than big budget Hollywood westerns. This is a low budget movie, mind you. It felt more realistic because he's way up on this hill with all these rocks, and they're going from rock to rock to rock.
That's actually cool. Also, it's realistic that Robert Wagner's character doesn't know how to do gunfights, and he just stands in the open and just starts doing this. I'm like, you're gonna get fucking shot. But keep in mind, during the first gunfight, he was shot. And then they just ignore it.
That
was the weirdest part.
He gets shot. Well, he does get dressed up a little bit. He falls down. They put a handkerchief on it, and it's okay. Is that what it was?
Yeah. I'm like, okay.
But it was
okay. Well, that was the weirdest. Like, okay, he's got a fucking
that shootout at the stagecoach.
Healing factor. What the
when
fuck?
they robbed the gold, took the gold off too. That was a great shootout.
Yeah.
But I really like the pursuit of the bad guy with all those
The
rocks.
other pursuit.
That was
the
great.
guy that they trapped like in a bunch of like bushes, and they just started the bushes on fire. And, like,
that was awesome.
He's gonna get out. I'm like, shit. That's the way to do it.
That was cool.
He's gonna that guy's gonna get out because if not, he ain't gonna be around anymore.
And then there's that also scene where the bad guy, is forced to really jump off the cliff, and he jumps off the cliff, and
this movie's pretty fucking good, dude.
So I mean, is it as good?
This is fucking surprising. This is my favorite thing about this show.
Is this real Bravo, or is it like the Cowboys that we just watched? No, it's not as good as those. But
also, it's literally half the length of the Cowboys.
For a B movie, I think this movie delivers the goods.
Yeah. It is. The motivations all make sense. The stuff
was a lot of fun.
There are people that get shot. That when Race gets shot, the Dale Robinson character, when he gets shot, and you're like, I understand. The sheriff, they had to actually grab the sheriff and tied him up.
Yeah,
and that's what other people let the sheriff out. I found it one of the weirdest things that I found really cool in this is they tie him up, they pour water on the knots to make them tighter.
Yeah,
and I'm like, not tighter, but harder to undo. And I'm like,
there's little details in this movie
that's like a fucking detail that I've never heard of before.
And there's little details.
And it makes sense.
Again, a B movie that really kind of put an effort to be something.
It's like better written than let's see here, Vice Squad.
I agree. It is definitely better.
And it also has more plot than any other movie today.
The acting's
got the most real story.
The acting's pretty cheesy, but that's part of the film's charm for me.
It's supposed to be. It's a fucking 1953 Western.
Well, was it me or did the bad guy? He was like a second-rate Jack Palance. He was like because he had like a mustache, that little pencil-thin mustache that he later shaved.
I didn't
but he reminded me of like looking. I'm like, oh, they couldn't get Jack Palance, obviously.
Well, apparently wasn't him. I mean, he would have been like 30 at the time.
Well, Jack Palance was a year before. Was in Shane. He was the bad guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
which I think it looks like that it's the same author who did
really?
Shane. Shane was based on a novel, and
because
then
both
First
those
Blood.
movies, everybody does stuff that I'm like, I can believe.
Oh, another thing I want to add, besides the opening titles,
don't ruin that
besides the opening titles, there's really no music in the film.
No, there isn't.
There is like during the chase.
That costs money.
Right. That's one of the things. I'm like, was it an artistic choice? Or most likely it was probably because it's a B movie.
Here's your B movie Western theme. We'll use that, and then no more music for you. Okay.
Yeah.
But it isn't worse for it.
No, not at all. I actually think it added to the tension during the action scenes. For sure. Absolutely.
The shootouts in this are people sitting there and shooting at each other, and they're in cover, and I'm like, it works. At one point, the sheriff. Or remember, he's race. I don't
Yeah.
know. One of them has 2 guns, runs out of ammo, just grabs the other one and starts shooting. And I'm like, I'm not going to count bullets, but they might be out of bullets. Okay.
It is a B movie, but I love the poster of this too. Like, look at this poster.
It's a cool poster.
Like,
I mean, it shows a whip. It's not the silver whip, so it doesn't mean anything.
I think that's race with the whip. Like,
yeah,
like
looking, never held a whip in the entire movie, but whatever. Okay.
No, I give this a strong 3, like solid 3.
Yeah, I'm giving it a solid 3. It's the second best movie.
Yeah, Gentlemen for Blondes.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that's our show. So my favorite film. Best picture for me is Gentlemen for Blondes.
Okay, that one is the best, but I might just say Silver Whip just to say, it's the most surprising film.
No, I would give that award
out of nowhere.
So
especially after watching movies I fucking hate.
The best surprise for me was Silver Whip.
But no, Gentlemen for Blondes is the best movie. But also, I believe we both went into this going like, well, we already know what the best movie is.
Yeah, well, Gentlemen for Blondes, yeah, of course. And let's see, your most hated film was Vice Squad, obviously. That was my least favorite too. It was for sure easily my least favorite.
Yeah, you only gave it 9.5 stars.
I gave it a 2, but it was my least favorite.
You gotta learn to hate more. You join the hate side. I
don't think I've given a 0 stars yet.
You've given a half star to
Tunnel Vision.
Tunnel Vision, which was fucking horrendous.
It was really
bad. Good God, is Tunnel Vision the worst? Tunnel Vision is actually worse than Vice Squad. But Tunnel Vision, I didn't want to burn the world.
I can't remember if I give half a star to Millennium. I might have, maybe at least a 1.
What'd you give to both the Mama movies?
Crazy Mama 2.5. And
you're fucking
a 2 or a 1.5 to Big Bad Mama.
You're a terrible person.
Yeah.
Stop liking shit.
Best performance by an actor.
Yeah, I was thinking about that while you're doing that. I'm like,
so I'm looking at the movie.
The problem is the kid is an elite actor.
Well, then you could do supporting.
I know. I'm probably going to do him for.
But Bing was pretty good.
Dale's really good too. So I don't know about.
You know what? I'm thinking I'm going to give it to Dale Robertson for this.
Are you going to say he's in this? And he's a pretty damn main character.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, then I'll probably give it to him.
Or Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby was good, but
Rory's good too, though.
Yeah,
they're both good. They're both better than Wagner, but Wagner isn't bad. He's just up against people who actually have been acting for 20 years.
Right. Okay. I guess of comedic performance. I mean, Donald O'Connor is actually really good as a lead.
He's good. The stuff where Jerry Lewis is funny, though, is funnier.
Oh, no, yeah.
But his stuff where he isn't funny is less funny. It's kind of hard. You know what I mean?
Best actress. There really isn't a lead actress. I guess Janet Leigh would be default. Houdini. I did like her in it. Actually, duh. Jane Russell. Duh. Jane Russell.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Duh. What am I talking about?
We got 2 lead actresses, doofuses.
Jane Russell, best actress.
But best supporting is probably the nun from Little Boy Lost.
Okay.
She was fucking good.
Yeah.
She was legitimately disappointed and angry, and I'm like,
I
don't want to disappoint that lady.
I would say that, yeah. Supporting actor. Ooh.
But supporting actor is the kid. I think the kid. I'm going to give it to him.
I'm going to give it to Charles Coburn as the old guy in Gentlemen for Blondes.
I understand.
I love him in that movie.
I understand.
He's so funny.
I'll allow it, but I just want to give the kid props because when he was on screen, I'm like, fuck, that kid really ripped me apart. That kid was so good. I just wish that the rest of the movie was better.
Right. Well, that's it for the episode, I think.
That's it for this episode. Only 2 more left?
Of the season, but we'll see. We're probably going to get real bored and shoot out the season 2.
Well, yeah, I don't think season 2 is going to be too far behind.
No, I don't think so.
Well, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If it's like this one, behind the scenes stuff here.
Yeah.
This is episode 10. We haven't released episode 1 yet. Okay? So this is going to be there might be a long pan in there.
Yeah,
and then
there might be.
Burst fire 12 more.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see where it goes. But anyways, next time we are going to be going to April 30th, 1987.
Yeah, baby.
So that's our next.
That's going to be one of those hard ones. Because I'm going to have seen every fucking movie, okay? They're going to be in the theater, and I'm like, 87? I was a movie freak at that time.
So I've looked at the paper. I don't think you've seen a lot of those movies.
Oh, good. Well, we're about to stop right now, and then we will find out. We will find out.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to us go back in time and talk about movies. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
We appreciate you. All right. Until next time, I'm Austin Kennedy.
I'm Tim Kaiser.
And we'll see you next time.
I mean, I'll allow it.
Okay. Bye-bye.